Hi everyone, I'm your host Diva Danielle, and this is Community Link AZ. Thank you for joining the show. This is the internet show that's a resource for you to people, products, and services in your own backyard you might not even know of. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. Each week, I'll introduce you to someone who is helping to make a positive difference in the community. We're going to have some fun, learn something new, and connect in a positive way. Let's start the show. Hi everyone, and welcome to Community Link AZ. I'm your host Diva Danielle. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button because I do not want you to miss an episode. Also, like me on Facebook at Community Link AZ, and that way you can see what I have coming up and what I'm doing in the community. Today's guest is very special, and she is a vital resource right here in the community. And that's what this show is all about, just bringing you resources and good people doing things to help impact the lives of others going forward. Charlie Berry is the owner of Destiny's Door Counseling Services, and today we're going to talk about mental health. And more so than ever, because we are all living through COVID-19, we're dealing with a lot of heavy stress. People aren't working at home, working at the office anymore, they're working at home. People are living with spouses that they didn't really know. And so there's all these issues that have come up. But going to see a licensed professional counselor like Charlie Berry is vital. So we're going to talk a little bit about the work she does and how she uses a holistic approach that also involves nutrition. So this is going to be very interesting. So nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get down and get dirty. Let's talk about, your resources and what you provide. I just want people to know a little bit about the work you do here in the community and how you are a vital resource. So tell us a little bit about the counseling that you provide because it's so needed right now.
I'm a licensed professional counselor and I call my practice, like I said, in Tempe, Arizona. And the service I provide, I work with trauma as well as anxiety, depression, PTSD, all of those different diagnoses. And one of the things that people tend to forget is the holistic approach that we are an entire being. So when we talk about nutrition, I am certified in nutrition and mental health integration because what we feed our bodies also feeds our brain. So there's a link, sometimes we forget that our digestive system and our brains are intertwined. If one isn't working correctly, the other one's not going to work correctly.
Absolutely. Let's talk about COVID-19. Now a lot of people I'm hopeful that they're utilizing your services, as a professional counselor to hash out and talk about the issues they're facing because besides the other stresses that people were dealing with, there's this whole new stress because we've been locked up for so long. The pressure of the pandemic, maybe living with a spouse or someone who you really didn't know, communication is different, not working at a job but now working at home and always being around the children creates a lot of different stress that people aren't able to handle, let alone release and express. So what has work been like for you?
We definitely had an increase. Our phones have been ringing, our emails have been blowing up because people are actually reaching out for help. They actually have time to reach out for help, which is something that a lot of people would say, I don't have time to go see a therapist. But now they're sitting at home most of the day, so they have time. They can't go out to the places they used to go out to mask or use those places as a distraction from working on themselves.
What are you doing to help them get through it? I mean, I'm sure you had to maybe shift a little bit, or have you had to shift a little bit your approach to dealing with this level of stress and anxiety?
It's all, anxiety and stress is all the same, regardless of what's causing it. How we treat it is the same. So we want to get to the root of it. Why is this pandemic so disturbing to you? Why is it worse than, a couple years ago when there was the swine flu war? And I know there are more deaths and things like that, but what is more concerning? Why is it such a problem now? And a lot of that is because of the isolation, because of the time alone, because people are having a lot more time to sit in their own thoughts. So a lot of those things that they were able to push aside and not deal with before are surfacing and they have no other choice.
And you always hear probably when people come to you, I'm sure, I tried to talk to it with my family. I tried to, go to my preacher. I tried to, deal with, friends and family. But a lot of times those people already know you. But the benefit of talking to a counselor like yourself is because you're far removed. So you can see things that their friends and family don't see, and that ultimately, I would assume, helps them out going forward.
Right. We're looking at them through a different lens. We're not looking at them with all the flaws or the arguments that they've had with family and friends, all the breakups and the bad choices and the decisions. That's not how we're viewing them. So we don't have that skew or that lens of, well, we know you're just doing this for attention, or we know next week you're gonna be back with him, and so we don't have all of that to feed into. So when they're getting this advice from family and friends, they have all this other history in the past that's affecting their responses to it.
Right. Let's talk about the African American community, because within the African American community, it's almost like a taboo to go see a therapist, but it's so needed. Sometimes you really do need to let go of what's been holding you back, and you need to talk to someone, you need to release it. So how do you approach, or how do you even help and assist the African American community here in Phoenix and the surrounding areas to utilize your services?
Well, first, we normalize it. I'm building you up, I'm encouraging you, I'm affirming you, especially our black men. Right? If a black male client come in, I'm like, look, I'm so glad you're here, because I know how hard it was for you to come through that door. I know how hard it was for you to make that phone call or to send that email. So when you took that step, like, you were one of the bravest men I have ever met in my life, because it takes a lot of courage to be able to say, I can't do this on my own. I need some help. And to go outside of the norm, to go outside with your family and friends, and everything, and say, you know what? Y'all not helping me. All this advice y'all giving is not working. So let me go over here and talk to somebody who's going to help.
And that's what we're encouraging. We're encouraging that if you are depressed, if you have tried those other avenues of going to your church, your family and friends, and it hasn't worked, a certified licensed professional counselor like Charlie can help assist you. And that's what I'm trying to do, is provide a resource so people will know you're here.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the things that you've created that also help the African American community. You were telling me about a website that just launched.
Right, so the first thing I did when I co-founded a group called Black Therapists in AZ.
Black Therapists in AZ.
With Mark Harris, he's a licensed professional counselor as well. And I call him a unicorn because it's a black male licensed professional counselor. I'm paying for the unicorn. So we co-founded that group in order to be able to network with other mental health professionals, so we can see who else is out there. Like, we can't be the only two out here. There gotta be some more of us out here. So once we started that, every time I saw somebody say, hey, I'm a therapist, I'm like, hey, come to this group. So I created a directory that's a list of the therapists, their specialties, the insurance they take, what side of town they're on, their phone numbers, all this contact information. So if someone in a different group or someone says, hey, I'm looking for a black therapist, I'm like, gotcha, there you go. Email me, I'm like, email me so I can send you the directory. But we have so many people that are trying to get in the group that was created for professionals that we created a group called Black Mental Health in Arizona.
Black Mental Health in Arizona. And I just want to make a point right now that we're not saying that, black therapists are better than any other nationality of therapists out there or professionals. I'm just trying to help highlight that within the black community, talking to a therapist is something that isn't readily accepted or encouraged to do. So the fact that Charlie has provided this resource and that she has African American men, black men coming through her door to talk about their issues is to be applauded, because you don't see or hear this very often at all.
Right.
And we all need to unleash.
Right.
So how can, going forward, you continue that conversation, you help people understand that this is a vital resource that needs to be taken advantage of? What do? Do you put stuff on social media as far as like video content or blogs, or do you post like affirmations? What do you do to engage your audience?
We've actually done some Q&As, so me and some of the other therapists, and with this new group, the Black Mental Health in AZ, that's what we're planning this once a month to do Q&A, to do live Facebook, and have people come on and ask questions, because we as the therapists want to engage with the community. We want to get rid of this stigma of mental health. We want to understand that we're here with people, and like you said, it's not just, black therapists. You don't have to go to a black therapist. I just want you to go see someone. I have some excellent therapists at my practice, and they are not black.
Mm-hmm.
And I refer to them all the time. I'm like, hey, this person will be a good fit for you.
Right.
And some people are like, nope, I just want to see a black therapist. And that's perfectly okay. So So it's not like we're the only ones you can see. It's not we're the only ones right now. But some people prefer the person of color, and that's why they're out here.
And that's a good resource. So she's just here to let you know. So in case you do need her services, you can utilize them. So tell everybody where they can find you and how they can get a hold of you if they do need to call on you for future reference.
So the Black Mental Health and AZ page on Facebook, you can contact me there. Destiny'sDoorCounseling.com. That's my website for my business, and you can always email me through there, or just text me. I'm always available in text. That's my easiest way, and that's 480-788-0872.
You were fantastic. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
This is Charlie Berry. Again, her business is Destiny's Door Counseling Services, and I want you to utilize them. Or if you know of someone who can use her services, please send her information along. I appreciate you watching this show. Thanks again for stopping by my YouTube channel. If you can, click that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode, and like my page on Facebook at Community Link AZ. You make it a great day, and I will see you next week.